But I'll tell you who has turned up. A woman who was there for the very beginnings of this program 18 and a half years ago. Her name is JOEY ALCARESE. Let me get my questions for her. Let me get us on gallery view so I can talk to her. And she's connecting to her audio as we speak. Where is, here we go. And I gotta get my audio up. That's what she said.
Make sure you're in the gallery view.
Yeah, I am. JOEY, can you, I need her to.
Can you hear me?
Hello, JOEY ALCARESE. I can indeed. Can you hear me?
Hey, I can, Dave. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Are you going to do video too, or are you just a picture there?
Well, right now you're going to do the picture because I'm driving until I can find a place to pull over.
Cool. Okay. When you pull over, we'll actually get to see JOEY ALCARESE, the former programming director for WGBB AM 1240, for a while in Freeport, Long Island, for a while in, West Babylon later on. First of all, main question, the main thing is to concentrate on your driving, but how are you doing, JOEY?
I'm absolutely wonderful. God is good and I'm still breathing. So a year later, I'm still here.
Well, a year later, why? What happened a year ago?
Well, COVID happened.
Oh, that, yeah. I've had so many deaths and things around me that I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot about COVID. So you didn't get it? Did anybody you know get it, survive it, or anything like that?
Well, my husband passed, and I believe he was probably one of the first ones. But anyway, I'm still here, Dave.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I had no idea. So you're not sure if he died of coronavirus or not?
Well, the deal was he got the flu in the hospital.
Uh-huh.
So I'm pretty sure that they gave it to him and they put him on a respirator, and that was the end of it.
I'm very, very sorry. I really had no idea. How long were you married?
20-something years.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I really don't know that much about you. Do you have kids?
I don't, but listen, let's go on to hopeful things.
All
You
right.
know, so I didn't really even mean to bring that up, but anyway, I can flip on the video for a little bit and let me see. How do I do this? Okay. I gotcha. All right. Can you see me?
All right. So tilt a little. You look great. You look absolutely like you did 20 years ago. It's amazing. How are you? Well, I know how you are, but yeah, I see you. You can see me, I guess. Uh-oh, now you're frozen.
I can see you.
Oh,
Okay, so let me put the picture. Okay, let me put the picture back on so we can talk. Got it?
You don't have enough. Well, it's good. It's good to physically see you for a moment. You know, with your Wi-Fi.
Well,
Yeah.
let's. Yeah, I don't want you to keep using. We're good.
I think we're good. If it can only work as audio, then I'll have you turn off the video. But it's good to physically see you. This is neat. So, what have you been doing all these years?
Well, believe it or not, I went from WGBB to being retired for a few years and having fun. And then I really fell in love with. I teach driving.
Oh, that's wonderful. Joey, I'm almost tempted to ask you to turn. Well, let's see if the video can work, because it's a very.
You're frozen again.
I'm frozen. You're sort of frozen.
Okay. Let me watch you. You're more animated than I am.
I thought you just saying I was a moron, but which would be true. But no, I'm an animated kind of guy. So JOEY ALCARESE, this is fine. We can have a phone conversation. I'm glad to physically see you for a moment or two. So you've been doing driver's ed for what, about 15 years?
Well, yeah, about 15 years. I did driver's ed. I do private, but you know what? I love it, Dave, because it's like this human experience. If I could risk my life doing anything else, it would be this.
Well, have you had any near, like, close calls, or even not so, like, I assume, well, what's happened? What are the funniest, weirdest things that happen when you've been teaching driver's ed?
Oh, there are too many to calculate. Well, but the most fun I'll tell you about when I first was a new instructor. the kids, when it would rain like it's raining today, there'd be the big puddles. They'd open the car windows and somebody would stick their head out the window and we'd try to get them wet in the puddles.
That's nice. That's okay.
It was so fun because they'd get soaking wet and we'd have so much fun. That was one of the funniest, craziest things we ever did. And of course, I was new, so I didn't know I couldn't do those things.
Yeah. I mean, hello, you're trying to get people, safely alive and with their driver's licenses. Did you ever have an accident? Well, not you driving, but one of your people while you were in the car.
Well, that's an interesting thing, Dave. Did we have a crash or did we have an accident?
Either one.
What's the difference?
Well, pick one. I mean, you ever go into another vehicle?
But see, most people don't know there's a difference between a crash and an accident.
What is the difference?
Well, if I have an accident, I was not at fault.
Oh.
Whereas a crash kind of means you could have been at fault.
Exactly.
All right.
So, have I had accidents? Yes. Was it our fault? No. So, yes, there's all kinds of incidents. But let's talk about you, Dave.
Me? I do this show. Everybody knows everything about me. I do 3 hours a week on Saturdays. There's nothing anybody doesn't know about me. It's you. I haven't seen her.
Ask Joey what her first impressions.
Well, that was one of the things I wanted to have you on because this is our 800th episode of the show. You were there when I walked in and made the deal and wanted to get on WGBB. So, what were your first impressions when Joyce and I came in there, or when I wanted to do the program, or I did the first show? What were you thinking?
Well, you were a character.
In what way, Joey?
You were a character. You were just so delightful, so funny, so uplifting, and it was like, we got to see where this guy goes. And actually, I haven't, truth be it, I am so busy. I haven't followed you, but it's so good to hear your voice, to see that animation, because I personally think you should have gone a lot further than you did.
Yeah. Thank you. What a backhanded compliment.
Tell Joey, your wife and your mother think that.
Yeah, I think it too. I should have gone much, much further than I actually did. Radio's a tough business. But I thank you certainly for that. I mean, when I walked in there for my first show, I had, as Joyce remembered, a 27-page script, and I handed it to engineer Paul, and his eyes just went, what? Are you kidding me? Because most people go on there, they have some notes, and they're essentially off the cuff, except for commercials. Me, I'm like, well, yeah, so the music cue comes in here, and then I start talking here, and just at this word, you turn up the music under, and he's like, okay, Dave. But I color coordinated with stickies and everything. That didn't last too long. But I'm glad you thought I was animated. Whatever happened, I also want to know about people that, well, you weren't there for that much longer. Do you remember Don Lewis?
Oh yeah.
And Eddie Hugg and the Moonshiners? Do they ring a bell?
No.
Because they were on right before me. They were on Sunday nights. They were trying to do it sort of an entertainment block on Sunday evenings.
I'm trying to think. Were they the comedians?
Not really. Don Lewis was just like this local cab driver guy who was a very convivial, John Gambling kind of presence. And he did a show, and Eddie Hugg and the Moonshiners were kind of this bluegrass band that he would have play with him in the studio. And it was kind of neat, and I would come on after him. You don't recall?
I don't know why.
Well, how long were you at GBB?
Too long. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. When the Chinese took over, it got a little crazy. But anyway, so it was kind of hard to do Chinese during the day and English by night and by whatever.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I can imagine, but how you had been there under the previous regime? How long were you there pre-Chinese?
It was about 4 years.
Oh, 4. So what are your memories, even before I got there, of funny things or goofy things for radio?
There's certain people you never forget. You
Yeah.
know, like, I remember certain things by like things that happened, like 9/11. I remember my first vacation and going out and seeing the guys at the studio door, the comedy team, John LaRocchio and Tommy Towers. And I
Okay.
call him Tommy Towers now because he lost his life in the towers. But you remember things that like people, what they did, the funniness, the humor, the laughter, the crying, Joyce Keller. Um,
Yes. Joyce Kelly, the what was
the,
psychic.
the psychic, and I used to tease her all the time and go, Joyce, you're not really a psychic, you're a psycho. And,
And
and
she would respond, I'm an entertainer, which she
yeah,
was.
exactly, that was Joyce. And I think Joyce is still around. And I know she lost her husband, but the people, it was like we had Rich Johnson, the fishing show.
Right.
I think Rich is probably still on WGBB.
I think he is. What about Manos
Um,
Galanis, the Greek guy?
oh, Manos Galanos. I don't know. I lost touch with Manos after a while. I would be surprised, but Greeks live a long time, don't they?
Yeah, well, I would hope they do. I mean, because he would always, he would always bring like bottle of wine for the staff on Christmas.
Yes.
He was always very,
Manos was a wonderful, wonderful person. And Lou Tolano, Streetwise, he's still on WGBB.
yes, he is. And
Wow.
GBB moved back. This shocked me. They actually moved closer than they were when I first went there. They're in like Baldwin or something now, or
I don't know
Merritt.
where they are. I have to ask Lou, but he they moved to the old WNYG building, and I don't know why they left there. But anyway, GBB was a lot of fun. GBB, Long Island's first radio station, and even today it's still there. So that was kind of cool. I had the vision back when was to make it back into, even though we only had those little spaces of time, back to our community. It's really, life is about community.
Right, and radio, as much as it conglomerized in the 80s and 90s, and it just became like one station coming out of Texas somewhere. There was on 100,000 radio stations across America. People realized, and advertising people realized, that no, it's the small local stations that can sell the ads, that can keep, if you're local, people feel that, and they want to tune in local. They want snow days. They want to know when their
Yeah,
kids
yeah,
don't
yeah.
have to go to school.
Traffic.
They traffic reports. They want to hear and feel like it's still next to them and not just coming out of some soulless building that one programming director from Sirius XM is deciding, okay, this is the news, this is the sports, this is the weather. I really, really still believe that.
Well, you know what, Dave, with what has happened in the last 14, 15 months, people really do see that it's not all about that. Look at what has happened. It's right now, people have to be local. People have to be community. And it's wonderful that you have the internet and you can do all these things and we can get close. But people are realizing we have to stay with one another. We have to communicate. We have to reach out to our neighbors. That's the only way this planet is going to survive.
Well, I don't think the planet will survive, but until it does, we can make it a little better. Up until that. Speaking of survival, did you also start like a foundation or some kind of organization to help abused women? Am I thinking about, is that right or wrong, or you were involved in that?
You're
What I
you're
missed?
correct. It was Us Against Abuse, and I still run that organization. And I've turned it up a notch, which is called now Fab Freedom Foundation. So, yeah, still doing all that stuff.
Well, no, that's good. I mean, I know, as you said, you're a driving teacher, but you're also involved in this. And what does it do? It helps abused. What do you do actually?
Well, abuse in any form, we don't want to tolerate abuse in any form. So it helps people when they're in need. But the Fab Freedom Foundation works with young people, which is really my focus.
Oh.
I've always loved young people, entrepreneurs, kids. That's, to me, that's what really makes the world go round. We're making the world better for them, Dave.
So, like, what is a project that someone you've mentored or helped,
I'm
like a
sorry, Dave,
success
you're
story?
breaking up.
Hmm?
I'm sorry, you're
Oh,
breaking up
oh,
a little bit. I didn't hear that.
sorry. I'll ask again. Like, what is a success story? Like some kid that you mentored went on to do X, Y, Z. Did you get that?
Okay. Well, we have some GBB mentoring stories.
What?
I don't know if you remember, but I used to bring at youth risk into the radio station, and that's really
Oh,
where my passion began. I had lost a friend to an eating disorder, and I decided, you know what? This is something we're not talking about. Kids cutting themselves, kids killing themselves, people doing things to themselves. And maybe there's hope for them. So that's where I got my inspiration. And I started to hopefully make a difference. And yes, there have been people who've been helped. Women who've had their children, gotten their children back. I had to take a couple of people underground where they had different identities. I mean, a lot of strange stuff in my life. I never stop. So
no.
for me, it's always an adventure.
What was your initial background? Did you grow up on Long Island? Where are you from originally?
My mother.
Okay, well, thank you for that. No, but are you a Long Islander born and bred, or do you not want to talk about that? I mean, I
No,
don't think there's anything bad about talking about that.
no, actually, I'm actually an import from Germany.
You were born in Germany? When
I
did?
am. I was a love child.
Oh no, hello. So how old were you when you came here?
I was 2.
Oh, okay.
Aw.
So no,
I was
not
I
sprechen
was
Sie
2 when
Deutsch.
I
You
came
don't.
to
Yeah.
a glance bissel.
Well, but that almost sounds Yiddish, which of course it wouldn't be. So, what do you remember anything since you were two
Well,
years old?
they're very close.
I missed that.
They're very close.
Uh, that was
I'm
breaking up.
having a hard time with the audio.
Do you remember
What?
anything before you were two of like Germany at all, or is it just nothing? Not one memory of when you were like a little tiny thing in Germany.
You know what, Dave? I'm not sure that people really remember. I I've had people say they remember everything. I don't remember anything. I remember stories people told me.
Right. That is so true. I mean, I do remember like being in my crib. I don't remember like the physical like being in Brooklyn in my crib, but I do have a sense memory of sleeping in my crib. It's amazing. Not from someone people told me, but that I can remember actually the feel of like the plasticky rubbery mat I was on against my face. That is a literal memory that I really feel. So yes and no. There's stuff I remember, and of course, there's stuff that people tell us. Like, what is a funny story that people tell about you from your childhood?
Okay. Well, my mother's when I was little, she said I used to go terrorize the swans. I used to
Oh,
go steal their eggs. So my grandfather would always try to keep me in. And I was like 2, and I'd put my hands on my hips, and he said he'd close the door, and I'd open the door, and I'd say, no, the door stays open, but in German.
wow.
So they would always tell that story about how I was so obstinate. No matter what they did, I always wanted to do the opposite. They
Wow.
wanted to close the door, I wanted the door open. They wanted the door closed, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Dave
Yeah.
goes by.
So have you stayed that way? Are you essentially not oppositional, but are you essentially like a stubborn, I'm going to get this done kind of person?
I'm a rebel with a cause. Absolutely.
I love that. Do you consider yourself a feminist?
Absolutely not.
Okay, why not?
I like being a woman. Why would I want to be?
Well,
Women have more rights than men.
on what planet? Where? How?
I'm joking.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I'm joking.
okay. So,
What I'm saying is women want to be men want to be women. I'm happy where I'm at. You
I,
know,
yeah,
it's like I want the doors held open for me. I don't want chivalry to be dead.
fair enough. I've always wanted to be a ring-tailed lemur, and I've been working on it. I'm raising money for the surgery. Um, hasn't happened yet.
Well, listen, no, Dave. Now you can identify as anything you want and be it for the day at least.
That's it. Well, I would go lemuring for about half a year. I really want to get into it and then swing from the trees and have a nice tail. You know.
Well, you can make that happen.
Now
I'm sure they're starting to make that happen. You could be part tail, part human.
most people would say I'm mostly tail for many many years. So let me ask you, Joey. I know that you. I mean, we won't get in again to your loss, but are you gonna start dating again? Are you out
Oh,
there?
absolutely not.
Oh,
Absolutely
you're
not. I'm
done
happy.
with men.
I'm happy. I'm happy being single.
So, what are your hobbies these days? You know, I know you do the
Hobbies.
foundation. So, what do you do for fun?
Let's see. I think traveling has been kind of fun.
Except,
I'm starting to travel.
yeah,
Just people. You know, people have always been my fun thing, Dave.
huh. Well, I guess it's in all the stuff that you do. It's important. You know, if you're going to be driving kids or having kids drive you around, you got to like young kids. And if you're at a radio station, you got to like eccentric. What'd you call me? Not crazy. What was the word you used? What did you call me?
Special.
Special.
You know what? That is the word special, but
Special.
not that kind of special.
Yeah, that's right. Joyce just says I should wear a helmet all the time. I just should.
Oh my goodness. You know who you just reminded me of?
What? Ooh.
What was his name? Bob Nelson, the comedian?
Yes. Whatever
Oh
happened
my
to him? Yeah.
goodness. I haven't thought about him in years.
I remember. Oh, I mean, he used to do that character,
Yeah.
the
Right,
helmety
with the
and the
helmet.
boxer guy who was
With the
taking
helmet.
punches. What?
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, so that's another thing I'm involved with veterans and boxing and yeah,
Oh,
you know what? My life is so full. There's so much that goes on every day. It's a new adventure every day.
that is. You know what? It's not only just a great attitude, but it's actually true for you. So many people say that. Oh, you know, so many go, oh, it's so great, but you actually really have filled your life with fun, meaningful things to do. You get people their licenses, or you help them get to that point. You train them to drive safely. You know, you're helping veterans, you're helping women. You haven't really done much for the lemur community. I've been reading up on them.
Well,
And
but I could learn about that. And you know what? I'm thinking about another one. Do you remember the time? I don't know if you were there when we brought the bear into the studio.
No.
no,
Oh, we had oh goodness. He brought a bear in and the tiger. Larry Wallacat. I forgot the name of his show, but it was a pet show. And he brought
did he
in
realize? Yeah.
a 9-foot grizzly bear.
Oh,
Did he understand that it's radio and that he could have just brought a recording of a bear going "Rrr," and we would have bought? Yeah, he didn't actually have to bring a
No,
bear into the studio.
I brought the bear in, and the worst thing was the bear decided to take a pee.
oh, oh.
Yeah, I've never seen a bear pee before, but
Yeah.
all I knew, I thought we were going to go swimming.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because it's enormous. It's somebody peeing for 3 straight minutes like a horse. Oh my! Well,
Exactly, and I think he didn't bite us, but he did take a piece of the couch.
holy cow!
What?
Wasn't even trained.
He was trained, and that's like you're bringing out. Like I'm thinking about all these people I haven't thought about in a while, and how much fun we had.
Well, no, that wouldn't have been fun for me. I would call with a tranquilizer dart. There's a bear peeing near the control panel. It's like, get the bear and the tiger. We keep forgetting there was a tiger there as well.
What did the tiger do?
Was the tiger problematic or?
Who's the tiger?
No, the tiger was the cub, so he was cute. He was like a little kitten, a little bigger than like a dog kitten.
It's like, did you just go up to this guy afterwards and say, don't be bringing a bear into our studio again, please?
No, actually, Larry and I were good friends. So it was like Larry was crazy. He would do things. He still, as a matter of fact, he just had another tiger. His
Oh,
kids are like, what was the guy with the gators? What was his name? You
Grizzly
know, the
Bear? I don't. He was mauled to death. Werner Herzog made a movie about this guy who lived with bears, and everything was fine. And then one day, the bear wasn't in a good mood and tore him to pieces.
right. Well, that's like Siegfried and Roy, right?
Yeah, exactly. The tigers, we love the tigers. They're so nice. They go through the hoop, they go through the fire, and then one morning the tiger gets a hangnail and is a little pissed off. And the tiger's like, "I'm gonna claw your face to pieces just because I can." And it's like, no,
You
no.
know, it really, we're laughing, but it's really not funny because they're animals. They're
Yeah,
wild. You don't know. Right? I mean, the woman, I was telling one of the students, I said, this woman raised orangutans
Oh,
yeah.
and the friend got her face ripped off.
yes.
Yes,
And,
of course she did.
yeah, and the kids are going like, no, that didn't happen. I said, okay, let me Google it for you. And it's like, yes, those things happen. They're wild animals.
There's a reason they call it going ape. That's what they do. They go ape. Oh
The
my.
planet of the apes is living on it.
I do remember. I do remember when I was doing my first and second and fifth and 10th show. Engineer Paul had a pet cat, sort of a stray cat that he adopted, and I would be going all over the studio and peeing wherever it wanted to. You
Oh,
remember that?
yeah. Listen, we had some crazy, crazy things go on. And actually, I just spoke to Paul. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 months ago.
How's he doing?
Well, Paul's Paul. He was living in the X Files for a while.
Don't even know what you.
And they actually came and got him. But Paul would cease to amaze me. It's like, what the hell are you in now, Paul?
Yeah.
Paul saved us a lot. He'd go out to the towers when it would go down. So Paul's somewhere in the Midwest, I think.
Oh, really? Because he was
Yeah.
he was working for like not NYG. He was working for another radio group for a while. The guy like Zev Brenner and those people. And but that's a lot years ago. That's the last I heard from him. He was fine, but he's also Paul, so he's never completely fine. And now it's nice to know. I'm hoping he's having a fine old time. I mean, he's probably like in his late 40s, early 50s now. It's weird to think
Yeah.
about. And of course,
We're all getting up there, Dave. But
well,
you look
gave
wonderful.
Joe Salzone his start, and he's doing really, really well.
So there's a success story.
It really is. He's over at in I guess upstate New York. He's gone from a couple of different radio stations, just moving up the ladder and being like the morning show man. So
He's one of my success stories. I remember meeting him at the track in Bayshore
yeah,
Track?
and giving him his start.
yeah, yeah.
She
No,
used to drive him. Yeah, he was young.
he was a kid. He was right out of.
I thought he was like 18.
He was. He was maybe
He was
17.
still in high school.
Yeah, he was a high school kid. A nice guy. I mean, he's kind of now that he's higher up on the ladder. I try and contact him, and he's like he ignores me. I'm like nobody now to Joe, and he was my engineer. Come on, yeah.
Does he really? I'm surprised.
I don't know. He said, well, he's also Joe. He has things that he goes through, but he's doing. Well, it's true. It's true. But he's doing all right. He's doing better than all right, I'm sure.
The kids are all right.
And who else? I'm trying to remember just any further.
How about Tom?
Well, Tom, you knew because Tom came in. He became programming director after you, so I don't know how well you knew Tom Ross, or did you?
Right. Well, I knew Tom for a while. I thought they'd be dusting cobwebs off of Tom, but I actually ran into him, and he's in security.
What?
Oh, he's not. Is he still doing like 1 or 2 days a week at GBB, or he left completely?
I honestly don't know. I don't think so. But I
Oh.
didn't ask him that.
So he's got a steady job with benefits. That's great.
That is good.
I cannot imagine him chasing down a perp, though. I can see him sitting at a desk going, stop. Please stop. You know? Tom,
So,
I really like Tom. Tom was a cool guy, but you know,
But his mom was sick. I hope.
Yeah.
She probably is. I don't know. He was worried about his mom a lot.
and also the only way that he could really, you know, considering what WGBB paid, the only way he could really live was he was working once or twice a week with Mickey B.
Oh yeah.
When the rock and roll king Mickey B would do shows, Tom would sort of DJ for him. And Mickey B passed like I think 2 or 3 years ago. Do you have any Mickey B memories?
No. I just saw Mickey B like 6 months ago.
Wait a minute. What? Wait.
What?
What?
I saw Mickey B about 6 months ago when I went to buy carpet.
Hold it. All right. Let me check on that.
Well, he may have died since, but maybe it's a year ago.
Or so maybe it wasn't a couple of years ago, but I thought that what was his last name? It was.
I saw him. I was so funny because I walked into a carpet store to buy carpet, and there was Mickey B.
Right. Oh, why did I thought I read like a memory of him?
Like promotional? Ask her, was he doing promotional?
Well, Mickey B always is a memory.
Yeah.
He was another character.
I had thought I could be totally wrong. If I am wrong, I hope you tell him or you write to him and say, hey, he's not dead. But,
Dave, he got a divorce, so that could be his death.
Oh. Oh boy. Ooh. Did you have an unhappy marriage, Joey? Just the way you talk about men now and all of that. You were married 20 years.
Who, Mickey B?
No, you. I'm saying the way you talk about marriage and not dating again. Were you happy or not, or what?
Of course, I was happy every day of my life.
Okay. Just
I used to have a saying where my husband is married, I'm not.
Oh.
No. I never cheated on my husband. We had a wonderful relationship. It's just, sometimes people grow differently. I'm a people person. My husband was like a recluse.
Oh, really? Kind of like me, actually. But
yes, I know that introvert, extrovert.
Yeah. No, but opposites can attract that way. Like you were the person who did the meeting and the greeting and the talking and the going and the out, and then you come home and you have someone who was quiet. And that's kind of neat, too, I think. Or maybe not.
maybe not. No, listen. Life gets tough sometimes, but then the tough get going. So all I can say is I have a wonderful life. I've always been a blessed woman. That's always the way I've considered myself. And if I can help somebody, if I can do something for somebody, that's what I want to do. And I've never changed.
Well, I just remember that you were, very supportive, very nice, which is what I was nervous as hell walking into to try and do this radio show and not knowing what I was doing and trying to over-prepare and under-prepare and just, dealing with everything. And you were, you helped, but you also stood back and didn't tell me a million things that I had to do. It was kind of like, you got 57 minutes, they're yours, have fun, obey the FCC rules, have a great show. You weirdo, you. But that's exactly what I needed, and I appreciated that. And I'm sorry that you didn't stay with GBB a lot longer, and that things didn't work out with you there. But I'm very happy, obviously, that things have gone so well for all the things that you do in your life. It makes me very happy that things have continued to turn out well for you, honestly.
Well, thank you, Dave. And you know what? Now I'll tune in to you more often when I have a moment.
We're here for 3 hours on Saturday. You can take a moment. You can take like minutes to look and say, he's more gray in the beard, a little more bald. Yeah, okay, now I can turn off the thing. But he's alive. But Joey, let me give you my blessing and thank you so much for being with us on this Saturday morning, May 29th, 2021. Wishing you more success, so many more licenses that you give deserving students, so many more people that you help, and so many good times. And hey, do you have any travel plans for 2022?
Yeah, probably Virginia, Pennsylvania. I'm on a quest now for We the People. My new thing is the Constitution, bringing it back.
Oh, okie dokie. So I know it went away, but just kidding. But
We the people.
this is true. Well, you are great kind of people. Joey Alcarese, I want to thank you very, very much for tuning in on, or for joining us on this Saturday morning on Dave's Gone By. Blessings to you, and don't be a stranger. Okay. Bye, Joey.